Hello, and good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I've got my laptop here on my belly, so it might be a little bit of a move in and out. And of course, the camera's going to move as I breathe. But anyway, yeah, 9:33. Two things really. I had I love it when I get a post on YouTube because it's you never really know who it's going to be from. And the post apparently was someone who was you know out to tell me that I was really a man and everything else. And I thought about it and I was like, well, there's a couple ways you can respond to that. You can ignore it, uh, but I just wrote back and said, well, you are certainly welcome to your opinion. Have a blessed day is what I wrote, and I think that's probably how I'm going to do stuff in the future. Well, you're entitled to your opinion. Can't, if I say something like, "Oh, well, you're a jackass," I'm I'm just feeding into the negativity, and in the grand scheme of things, in a lot of what's going on, I think nationwide right now, um, we live in America. We're supposed to have the ability to express ourselves, and so uh, in the way that you know some states are passing laws right now where you can't, they've passed laws against drag queens, and they've passed laws about um, there's just this thing now where, like, it seems like to me lately, the last 2 or 3 weeks, um, Republicans in legislatures are censuring and kicking out Democratic legislators for expressing their opinions. Um, for years, it's been perfectly okay for a Republican um, congressman to talk about guns and, saving children and how we need God in schools and everything. Uh, and the moment a Democrat gets up and says something about, any other point of view, that there's issues with guns and children or transgender rights. We saw this last week. The Republicans are like, "Oh, you're out of order. You're breaking decorum. Uh, and that seems to be like a kickback that I've seen uh, with white America. White people in America that uh, a black person will stand up for their rights or say something, and all of a sudden the white people are like, "How dare you say that?" And the white people are like, "We're victims," and you're like, "No, you're not." You know, you've been an apex predator for years, and now you're actually going to be equals, and the white people are feeling threatened. That's how it is in terms of a racial construct. The same way that the Don't Say Gay bill and other things like it, we have to go get these books and whatnot. We can't have these books in the library because children shouldn't be sexualized, or and yet the other 80 to 90% of the books in the library push a cis heterosexual man. You know what I mean? Like that's that's been the norm for so long, that's totally ignored anything else. And when you talk about equality or access to information, people over here get upset at a book about two women or two men, or you know what I mean. It's non-binary. and the people over here call it uh, pornography or grooming. You know what I mean? It's like uh, they've created this. I'm not going to say false narrative that that's the normal, and anything outside of that is abnormal. When in reality, it's a spectrum, and uh, for a long time, this has been the you know that's been the thing. So I hope going forward, uh, you know, we realize that there are different ways of looking at things. There are different, you know, this is not a threat to this, but these people over here, for generations, have been a threat to this. It's one of those things. It's this is an area where we're going to grow, and back circling back to where it started with this. So if we on this side, transgender people, LGBT, non-binary, whatever, 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 if we are gonna fight for that expression, okay, uh, we have to be willing to say to these people over here, well, you're welcome to your opinion in the same way that I am welcome to my opinion. And sorry, it's wrong for you to try and silence me. Okay. So it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? Embrace it and say, well, I'm interested in what you have to say. What's your opinion? Now that you have had a chance to speak, let me tell you about my opinion. See what I'm saying? You know, we have to be you have to recognize that someone else has a different opinion in the sand, and it goes both ways. They have to recognize that other people have a different opinion. See what I'm saying? So let's move on to what I really wanted to talk about today, which was I had a moment with my daughter. Um, we were sitting having a cup of coffee, and she laughed and she said, sometimes I do stupid things. And I said, well, like what? And she said, well, I put mascara on this morning and I just rubbed my eye. And I said, oh, yeah, I used to do that, you know. And we talked a little bit, and I shared a story that my mother, uh, I don't think you can really see here, but usually um, the skin underneath my eyes and in here, this little crease area, is very thin. And so the blood vessels underneath make it look like I'm a zombie. And so something my mom does told me about was putting a little bit of concealer here, you know, and then that way it doesn't have the that darkness. Does You don't look like you're a zombie. And I shared that with her, and she said, "Oh, well, I don't have any concealer, like in a way of she would like to have some concealer." And I said, "Oh," I said, "Well, baby, if there's anything you need or you'd like, I would be happy to go get you some." And she's like, "Well, I wouldn't know what to do with it." And we talked a little bit, and I said, "Well, I'd be happy to share with you what I know." I said, Unfortunately, I don't have, the 40 years of practical experience wearing it." I said, "But, and so that we talked a little bit. And a couple minutes later, as she was getting ready for school and I was getting ready to drop her off, it kind of dawned on me that, you know, usually, uh, you know, the mother, and this is going to be very stereotypical, I guess I should say, trigger warning. the normal, quote unquote, you know, the mother and the daughter. The mother would show the daughter, you know, makeup stuff, and the daughter would learn on her own. You know what I mean? Like there would be this sort of like rite of passage, sharing of knowledge from daughter to mother, older woman to younger woman about makeup and cosmetics, and it would be a a, a bonding thing between the mother and the daughter, a rite of passage type thing. And the daughter would build her own, body of knowledge as far as cosmetics go. And that really, for me, uh, it's different players altogether. As growing up, as much as I was fascinated and I secretly wanted to try it out. Obviously, uh, I was not welcome. You know what I mean? It was forbidden fruit to begin with, but in my growing up, I remember my mother and my sister, our common bathroom. My mom was on one side with the sink, and my sister was on the other side with the sink, and they had their makeup, by the shelves. And of course, as a child, as a little boy, every time I went to the bathroom, I was tormented because I looked sitting on the toilet looking at all the makeup, and I'm going, "Ooh, that would be fun to play with, right? I wonder what that does." So anyway, how I'm bringing this up because it's an interesting thought for me. I think to think about uh, how I can pass whatever I know, and what I know is through trial and error, not because someone really showed me. I mean, my mom, yeah, she told me about the concealer in her eyes, but my mother has never sat down with me and said, this is what this does, and this is what this does. You might like this, and and we just haven't had that. Everything I have learned from YouTube. Really. Whereas normally, like I said, you would have the mom telling the daughter, and then the daughter and her friends. And I can remember in high school, I had friends who, uh, you know, that were girls who, started out the year not wearing makeup. And then by the end of the year, they would wear just like, they do the little wings on their eyes, with the eyeliner, little wings or whatever. And, by the time we got to, 11th or 12th grade, girls were wearing makeup. You know what I mean? It was like, again, a rite of passage. It was the type of thing. And college even, again, it's just something. At what point in a girl's life do you embrace it? And again, the way I was programmed, and you look at some older movies, and the daughter comes in and she's got a lot of makeup on, and the father pulls down his newspaper. He's like, "Get that stuff off your face. You're too young." You know what I mean? Uh, only women, only whores wear makeup. That type of shit. um, and how much that's changed in our generation and where we are today here, 2023. Um, so I'm not too sure what to do. I'm not too sure what to do. My my grandma, who I loved a lot, she's piss and vinegar. She had a vanity, in her room, and it was just, it was like a small table you sit down at, had a mirror in the back, so you could look and see what you were doing. Um, and what I she used, which I bought myself down the road, was a little makeup mirror, like lighted. It's got a mirror that swivels in the middle of it, so you have one normal kind of mirror, and then you flip it around and it has a close-up mirror, and that way, you can see your face, and then turn it and focus in on, your eye, so you can get your eyeliner and everything done, brows and everything. Uh, like how I can pass that, what little I knew. How can I pass that body of knowledge, to my daughter? Now that she is of an age, she's 16. She'll junior. She's almost a junior in high school. How do I pass that body of knowledge on to her? And my goal for when I move is to, in wherever we end up moving, assuming we get a house eventually, is to have a vanity table like my grandma, where I can leave things set up. Right now, I have my makeup in a. I took um, a tackle box tray, took off the top, put it on its side. So you have all the little compartments, this way. And then I took a hot glue gun and some toilet paper tubes, and I trimmed the toilet paper tubes like in half, almost in half. And then I took a hot glue gun and I glued them on the top, the the tubes, and that way I have a tube for my brow pencils. I have a tube for the brushes are perfect to sit in there. Your blush brush, your powder brush, and then I made these ones a little maybe a little smaller, and I have my brushes for like eyeshadow and da 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 da, and then I have the other ones over here are uh, eyeliner in different colors. I have black, I have brown, I have gray, and then in the tray area here, I have the eyeshadows by color, lipsticks. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice, easy, do-it-yourself organizer. Um, Instead of like a makeup bag, my mom uses a little bag. Of course, she's only here; she travels with it, right? But I'm wondering now if maybe, since we're going to be here for 2 more years, um, maybe to go ahead and buy a little vanity table. Invest in something that for both of us, and put it somewhere that we'll both have a little bit of privacy, but you actually could sit down and have the mirror, and you know what I mean, like take what used to be in the bathroom for me, what my mom and my stepmom used to use, but to take that, and it would be a place that Katie, my daughter, could practice, and much like a diaper changing station, you know, have the makeup removal wipes, the place for your moisturizer, and all that stuff. And admittedly, full disclosure, I really don't do that anymore. Uh, I don't really wear makeup anymore. I might put eyeshadow on, which I guess is my stylistic choice. Um, Usually I try to put eyeshadow on if I'm wearing a shirt or something that's like purple. I'll put purple on. Blue, I put blue on. And really, that's the extent of it now. When I first transitioned, I went ape shit, okay? Because I wanted to play with it, but now it's like uh, very, very little, but it would be a place, you could store stuff, and she could have her stuff and I could have my stuff, you know. So that might be something to kind of think about, you know, as she, like I said, if you think about it, and I really didn't. I did. The more I thought about it, I had lots of memories of me as a child wanting, I wanted my mom to show me. I wanted to, and golly, I'm sure you've done it too when you were younger. Um, you know, opening a drawer and you see the lipsticks and everything. You're like, oh, I wish I could wear that. But anyway, so I thought I would share that. It's something to, you know, I think it's something it's for us as transgender people, and I'll assume transgender women for the moment. It is a bit of a rite of passage. It is a bit of curiosity. Well, what does this do? And to safely try to learn how to use eyeliner, and you stab yourself with it, or you get too much stuff and then your eye waters, and then you're like, oh shit, I put too much on, or you know, and then when you mess up, you're like, okay, like an etch a sketch, shake it, start over. Yeah, but there's and of course there's so many different things out there. There's liquid foundation. There's powder. There's so many options. And again, I think the little girl in me is like, hee 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 hee, hee hee hee, get to play with makeup again. Uh, but yeah, my skill is definitely on the low end. As it goes, I have my friend Dawn, who is like she is the goddess, and my friend Brenda. It's like the perfection, and I'm down here. I'm the experiment. You know. Yeah, just funny, just funny. But anyway, I didn't. The other thought I thought about was maybe taking her to uh, a place that actually is like a cosmetic store, like Sephora or something, and the um, let the makeup lady, excuse me, makeup person, could be a guy, could be a girl, could be a non-binary person. Let the cosmetics expert give her the a tour. Now, of course, that's going to be a sales gig. You know, oh, and you need this primer and this whatever. Put this on first. Put this on second. Put this on third. And you'll need our bronzer completer. Da 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 da. It's going to be a sales pitch. That's how they make their money. But anyway, so I'm going to end this here. I hope all is well with you. It's been kind of a bumpy week for me. Been kind of a bumpy week, but we're getting better. So, all right, till next time. So in summation, I hope that we can, excuse me, change the conversation away from being, you know, uh, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Okay, however wrong it might be. Uh, you know, in the same way that someone else might express something, you give them a listen and you say, well, now it's my turn. And all of our opinions are equally valid, right? It may be wrong, but it's an opinion. And then, secondly, it's just a little bit of fun thinking about makeup and that rite of passage, that passage of knowledge. And there was it was an assigned male comic strip earlier last week, I think it was, and she tends to recycle them. Uh, she'll post one that's appropriate that she's done to whatever's going on in the day. But it was the first panel was at I guess the grocery store, the cosmetics aisle, and you have the dad and the two children, who I know one of them is non-binary. I don't know about the other one. And the little child's like, Dad, can I get this lip gloss? It looks really good, And the passerby is like, oh, boys don't wear lip gloss. And the two children are like, excuse me. And the father is like, we're all getting lip gloss. you know, it just kind of struck me as how far we've come in my lifetime. 50 years. All right, till next time. Bye bye. Good luck to you. Stay safe. Bye bye.